Hi yoga friends, welcome to Sarah Mapes Yoga. I'm Sarah. I have arthritis in both my hands and feet. Earlier in the week, I had a student in one of my live streaming yoga classes mention that she also has arthritis in her hands and feet. She asked how to work into hands and feet when they're feeling stiff and inflamed. This practice is designed to show how I work into stiff and painful hands and feet. We're going to spend a lot of time on our knees in this practice. You may want a blanket for some extra padding. And also, if you can grab a couple of hand-sized balls, tennis balls or other therapeutic balls that fit comfortably in your hands and you can also use on your feet, that would be really helpful. If you're interested in live streaming classes with me, there will be a link in the description down below to my website, and you can join me for live streaming classes. We'll begin today's practice in a comfortable seated position. Begin in a kneeling position. You may want to have a blanket underneath knees, and you might choose to use balls and you might choose not to for this exercise. Personally, I don't choose to use balls to work into the fascia of my hands, but I want to show it because someone else may really prefer the balls. So you could take both balls in both of your hands and start to gently work your way through the connective tissue, the fascia of your hands, rolling the balls on all the parts of your hands. Going to fetch the balls would probably be a lot of work for me, and I would probably just come down onto my mat and place my hands on my thighs and start to move them up and down my legs. This builds some heat, and the heat is also soothing for my arthritis, and it massages the fascia, the connective tissue of my hands. So this is what I typically do. Inhale, lift your arms up to the sky. Exhale, bring your hands together at heart center. With our hands at heart center, leave your fingers touching and slowly start to pull your palms away, pressing into your fingers. See if you can breathe into it. Even inhale and exhale. Bringing your palms back together. Inhale, lift your hands up towards the sky. Exhale, bring your hands together. Hands come forward and scoot yourself into a tabletop position, knowing again that you can leave a blanket underneath your knees for some extra padding. From a tabletop position, start to work into your hands. Gently lift them up and turn them out towards the sides. Only go as far as it is comfortable for you. Out to the sides might be where you stop. Maybe you shift back and forth from side to side with your arms out to the sides. If it's comfortable and you can keep going, keep moving your hands so that your fingers are pointed towards your torso, and then work back out. Bring your hands the opposite direction, palms facing up. Shifting forward and back. And bringing your hands back to center. With some pressure, lift one palm up, pressing into the mat with your fingers. Palm comes down. Switch sides. Lift your other palm. This palm doesn't lift as far for me. There's more inflammation in this hand. And lower down. Lift up. Lower down. Lift up. Lower down. Slowly start to bring pressure into your hands, shifting forward into a knee plank. And coming back almost like you're coming into a child's pose. Start to slowly shift back and forth between a knee plank and child's pose, working into your hands. It would be very difficult for me to wrap my hands around traditional weights to get weight-bearing exercise. Yoga provides me with the opportunity to get weight-bearing exercise to keep my bones and my muscles healthy and strong. Plank is a wonderful pose for weight-bearing exercise. Another important thing to keep in mind is that many of the muscles that help our hands and our fingers and our wrists to move are connected up into our forearms. So working and strengthening our arms and our shoulders helps to strengthen our hands as well. You can stay in a knee plank, or you could tuck your toes under, which starts to work your feet, and lift yourself into a full plank. See if you can breathe into it. Even inhales and exhales. Knees come down. Bring yourself back to a child's pose, just to rest. Knees could be close together or they could be out wide. Totally up to you. Do what feels most comfortable in your body. Lifting yourself back up to a tabletop position. Tuck under your back toes and lift yourself up to a downward facing dog. In your down dog, take a moment to lift your toes, spreading your toes out, and place them back down on the mat. Lift your heels up as high as they'll go and lower them back down towards the mat. It doesn't matter if they come down to the mat or not. Lift your heels and lower down. Lift your heels and lower down. We're going to shift into a low lunge. So if you'd like to leave a blankie out for knees, that is great. And if you'd like to just move your right foot forward between both hands, that works too. Otherwise, I invite you to join me in sweeping your right leg up to the sky in a three-leg dog. Stepping it forward between both hands and dropping your left knee down to the mat, making sure that your left toes stay tucked under. You could also use blocks here on either side of you to lift up, feeling into the stretch if that feels good. Lift your arms up towards the sky. Bring your hands down to your right knee, pressing into your back toes. Place both hands down on the mat. Lift yourself up and step your right foot back to a downward facing dog. I invite you to lift your left leg up into a three-leg dog. Step your foot forward between both hands, dropping your right knee down to the mat, making sure that this time your right toes stay tucked under. Lifting yourself up, sweep your arms up towards the sky. Bring both hands down to your left knee, pressing through your right toes, feeling into your foot. Bring both hands down to the mat and step yourself back to a downward facing dog. Even inhales and exhales. Look forward towards your hands and step your feet to the front of your mat. Slight bend in your knees. Inhale, lift yourself up to standing. Bring your hands together at heart center. Step your feet so that they're about hip width apart. And spread your toes. We wear shoes so often and it squishes our feet. And spreading your toes helps to recreate the natural shape of our feet. It also helps us to have greater stability and improve our balance. So spread your toes. And then take a moment to work forward through to your toes and back to your heels. Lifting your heels and your toes as you rock through your feet. Coming back, spreading your toes. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky and rise up onto your toes, bringing your hands together at heart center for candle flame. Lower your heels down. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky. Rise up onto your toes, bringing your hands together at heart center for candle flame. And lower down. Bend both knees, making sure that your knees track out over the middle of your feet. Arms come out to the sides in upward chair. Take your right arm, crossing it over your left, giving yourself a hug. If this is really comfortable and you'd like to go a little bit further, go ahead and take your arms up, maybe even taking the double crossing, bringing yourself into eagle arms. Lift your arms up in front of you and breathe. Even inhales and exhales. Unwind your eagle, rise up to standing. Take a moment to let your wings flap and fly. Loosening up any tension from your arms. Bend your knees, tracking out over the middle of your feet, bringing your arms out to the side again. This time, take your left arm, crossing it over your right. If you'd like to go a little bit further, go ahead and lift your arms up. Taking the double twist, finding eagle arms. Feeling the stretch in your shoulders. And breathe. Unwind your arms, rise up to standing, and go ahead and flap your wings, letting go of any tension. Inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come to a flat back. Exhale, place your hands, step your feet back to a downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, we're going to shift down and come back down onto our knees. So if you'd like to place a blanket for extra padding, go ahead and do that now. And then bend your knees from your downward facing dog, placing them down on the mat, keeping your toes tucked under. This can be a really intense stretch. Feel free to place a blanket underneath your knees and maybe even a pillow. We're stretching into our feet and our toes a little more deeply now. To distract us from the intensity of this foot stretch, bring your hands out in front of you, interlace your fingers together, palms come together, and start to move your wrists in 5 circles going in one direction, and 5 circles going the other direction. Hands come out in front of you. This is very challenging for me sometimes. See if you can make your hands into fists and release. Fist, release, fist, release, fist, release, fist, release. We're going to do 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See if you can hold your fist. Squeeze as tightly as you can. Drop your wrists down, lift them up. Drop down, lift up. Drop down, lift up. Drop down, lift up. Drop down and lift up. Take them from side to side. Go ahead and extend your fingers and shift forward, bringing your hands down to the mat. Slowly come out of your toe stretch. If it feels good, you can tap your toes on the top of the mat. That's actually a little intense for me. So I'm just going to very gently tap them. Then I'm going to go ahead and sit back down on my heels with my toes flat. coming into this kneeling position, and grab my balls. Bringing them out in front of me, I'm going to practice squeezing the balls. One of the things that's really challenging about arthritis in your hands is that you lose strength in your hands and it becomes difficult to grip things. We're going to work on strengthening our hands and improving our grip. Squeeze your balls and release. Squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, release, squeeze, and hold. Squeeze it as hard as you can. And breathe. Nice work. Go ahead and set one of your balls over to the side and come into a comfortable seated position. One hand can come out to the side. Place the other ball underneath your foot and slowly start to work the ball into all the parts of your feet, from your toes to your toe mounds, through the middle of your foot, down to your heel and back, working into the fascia, the connective tissue of your foot. And switch sides. Go ahead and place the ball underneath your other foot. Whoop, if it doesn't roll away on you. And start to work into the connective tissue, the fascia of your other foot. Go ahead and set your ball off to the side and take your legs into a straddle position. Sit up nice and tall, hands maybe come behind you, flex your feet and point. Flex and point. Flex and point. Flex and point. With your feet flexed, lift your left arm up towards the sky, reaching over towards the right, feeling into a lateral stretch. Coming back through center, hand comes down and switch sides. Right arm reaches up and over. And come back up. Point your feet. And start to walk your hands forward just a little bit. Maybe coming down onto your forearms. And breathe. Even inhales and exhales. Go ahead and walk yourself back into a seated position. Bring yourself into a comfortable seat. And bring your hands back onto your thighs. Rubbing your hands together, creating a little bit of heat. Close your eyes and place your palms over your eyelids. With your eyes closed, bring your hands together at heart center. Take a moment to feel gratitude for your body, your hands and your feet that worked so hard to take you through this practice. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me. I hope that your hands and your feet are feeling better. If you like this practice, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you again on the mat soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.